What's up, guys? It's a new season and you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. Last season I stopped making FPL content on this channel when I got a job, and I really got handful. I got busy, so I wasn't able to continue the channel any longer. So I kind of abandoned it, but not necessarily abandoned it because I still always had it in mind to get back and make content. And for some other reasons, last season we still had some COVID periods, and the game we had very inconsistent game weeks, so I wasn't able to meet up with deadlines and making videos. But I'm back fully this season, and I've made a commitment that I'm going to be making videos every single game week that I can. So I'm going to be dishing you out with a lot of quality content so that you can improve your FPL skills, your FPL knowledge, and all that. But now in today's video we're going to be looking at my team selection. That's my final team selection for game week 2. I didn't make any videos in game week 1. I wasn't able to make videos, but from game 2 henceforth, from game week 2 rather henceforth, I'm going to be making FPL content for this season. So without further ado, guys, let's jump straight in. Yes, you're welcome back, guys, and like I said, we're looking at my final team selection for game week 2. But quickly, I want us to look at how my game week 1 was. I'm not going to go into details of my team, but I'll just give you an overview of what my team really looks like in game week 1, because that's going to guide us into what my team selection is going to look like in game week 2. So we have it here. I had a total of 72 points, and if you look at my lineup, I have Raya, Perisic, Zinchenko, James, Salah, Saka, Son, Bailey, Shulanke, Jesus, and Darwin Nunez. Pick 4 was on my bench: Mings, Andres, and Williams. So in game week 1, I had initially started with a 4-3-3 formation, having Mings in the lineup, but for some reasons, I don't know, Mings did not play, so that was why it was substituted to fill in with another player. Now, if you look at this team, you would notice that I don't have any single Manchester City player, and that's for certain reasons, just 2 reasons. Now, the first reason why I don't have any Manchester City player is because of the key players to have from Manchester City are Cancelo, De Bruyne, and Haaland, and I wasn't convinced enough to spend that amount of money on a defender like Cancelo, and De Bruyne also. I wasn't really convinced enough to spend up to 12 million for a player at a go. Now, in my opinion, I'm only comfortable spending that amount of money, especially at the beginning of the season, on the likes of Salah or Son. And if you look at my old team, these 2 players are the only premium priced players that I have in my team. Now, if you look at other players in the team, they are just about a bit lower than the premium players. My most expensive striker is still Darwin Nunez at 9 million. Gabriel Jesus, I went for him because he had a pretty good preseason and he performed well, and his price is actually very, very, very competitive. Not competitive, but yes, competitive. But his price point is very affordable. That's why you see him being the most selected player in game week 1. Now, if you look at my defense as well, I didn't get the likes of Cancelo because I felt it was too expensive. The same thing with Arnold and Robertson. I didn't buy any of these players because they were just too expensive for my budgets, based on how I set up my team. So I decided to go for Perisic and Zinchenko and James, and it looks like it's really paid off well for me, because when you're starting out Fantasy Premier League at the beginning of the season, you really don't want to spend too much on the old guys. When I mean the old guys, I mean the best performers from the previous year. You can only go for the likes of Salah, Salah, Son, which that okay, you are buying these players for the long term and they always perform from the beginning of the season. But for defenders who are already priced at around 7 million, 6 million, it's quite difficult to start buying those players because you are not guaranteed of their performance in the first few game weeks. Although these players are for the long term, but still there are so many fishes, so many players out there that you can get the same thing you get out of these guys that are more expensive. So that's that about my game week 1 team selection. I had a total of 72 points, like I said. So let's move on to my team selection for game week 2. Yes, so this is what my team selection is going to be looking like for game week 2. Now, as you can see, it's a 4-4-2 formation, and so far I haven't made any significant change when it comes to making transfers to the team. I feel like since this team was able to score me up to 72 points in the first game week, I think I can actually carry on with this team, even for the next 2 to 3 or even up to game week 5. But then I'm going to be saving my transfer for this game week 2. I'm not going to be using it until the third game week so that I can have two free transfers, to make quality signings. Now, let's look at Pickford. Pickford, I have chosen to start Pickford over Raya just because his fixture, despite playing away against Aston Villa, his fixture seemed kind of less difficult than playing and than for Raya, who is going to be playing against Manchester United. Now, a lot of people kind of on social media and groups and chats and all that are already judging Manchester United, after the first game week. But then I feel like it's too early to start judging Manchester United players, the whole team generally, even the coach. People really have to give them some time because it's a new process, especially for the manager. It is a club and a league he has never been to. So I don't even see Manchester United losing again in this second match. They might not be able to beat Brentford since Brentford also had a really good first game. But then they should be able to get a draw against Brentford. But irrespective of that, Raya just is going to be on my bench because Man U is most likely going to concede against Brentford. I really don't see them keeping a clean sheet. And between him and Pickford, I feel like Pickford even has a better chance of keeping clean sheet against Aston Villa than Raya having a chance of keeping clean sheet against the likes of Manchester United. Now, to my defense, I have Perisic, Zinchenko, James, and Mings again. Now, I've chosen to start with Mings again. Hopefully, he's going to be starting in this game because I really don't know why he didn't start in the previous game week. But then, hopefully, he starts in this game week. But should he not start in this game week, definitely I'm taking him out of my team ahead of game week 3. Then I'll be able to make another better transfer in for the game week. Now, James is going to be playing against Perisic, who is a Tottenham player, and is a Chelsea Tottenham match. They are playing against each other. These are times many managers don't really want to face in Fantasy Premier League, but it always just has to come, and it's really cool that it's happening early in the season enough. Now, if you look at this James and Perisic, well, they are still the best options apart from Zinchenko that I have in my squad so far. And if you look at my bench, I don't exactly have the players to replace them. But other than that, now there might necessarily not be clean sheets coming out from this match, but there is every likelihood that Perisic, if he starts the match, would be able to get an assist or even score. He even has better chances of scoring than James, and I think he has the best chance of all the fullback players in Premier League this season. I think Perisic is going to come out on top ahead of the likes of Cancelo, Arnold, and James himself, because he's a more attacking he's a more attacking player than the other players. And he started as an attacker, although he's currently a defender in Tottenham. He's currently a defender in Fantasy Premier League, but then we could see Conte use him in more attacking areas, more attacking positions. So Perisic, that's even the main reason why I got Perisic from day one, and I think he's going to be a long-term player in my team. So for Perisic and James, not necessarily clean sheet coming out from it, but hopefully they get assists or goals in this game. Now we look at Zinchenko. Zinchenko is going to be playing at home against Leicester City. Now the same thing goes for Arsenal in this game. Arsenal is going to be playing a Leicester City side whom over time they have always been competitive against each other, having very difficult fixtures against each other, and it's going to be really hard for Arsenal to beat Leicester City in this one. Yes, they're going to be playing at home, but even if they are going to get a win from this game, Leicester City will definitely score. I don't see Leicester City coming out of this match without a goal, and that means now I'm not keeping Zinchenko is not necessarily there in the lineup for the clean sheet, but then for the assist, just like he had in the first game week. And if you look at it also, he's one of the best performers in game week 1. So he depending on how Arteta keeps this guy in the team, that depends on also how I'm going to keep him in my team. So if he keeps being a starter, most likely he's going to remain there in my team. As we see that Arsenal kind of they have a good and fine form so far this season, and I hope they're able to keep that up. Now we move to the midfield. I have Salah, Saka, Son, and Bailey. Now Saka, for Salah, So there's nothing too much to say about Salah. It's just a constant. You must have Salah, and there's nothing really much to say about Salah other than the things I've been hearing on the internet about his statistics in game week 2, that he hasn't scored in a game week 2 match in the Premier League for a long time, or maybe ever since he got to the league. But then that won't stop me from captaining Salah. Now the reason is because if you look at my old squad here, his fixture among the premium players still seem like the easiest. And honestly, I could have even given the captain band to Darwin Nunez, but then we see that Klopp is trying to ease Darwin Nunez up in the team. He had a good preseason when he got the Community Shield and scored, a goal there. Then his first game week coming from the bench, he scored a goal and also had an assist. Now we see him having a very good chemistry with Salah, but then there are still competitive players in that position like Firmino and Jota. So for this particular reason, it might even be very difficult for me to make Darwin my captain, even if I know that okay, he's caught up for it. But just for now, until he becomes a regular starter, starting every game week, now I don't think I'm going to consider him for that. Then, so about Salah, there is always there can always be change at every point in time. So because he hasn't been scoring in game week 2 in the previous season, doesn't mean that same thing is going to happen in this particular season. So that's going to be Salah, and it's still going to be my captain for the game week. Now we move to Saka. Saka wasn't we didn't get too much of Saka in the first game week, although he was able to get just one assist. But then playing against Leicester City, this is a side that I feel like I feel like this game is going to be a really high scoring match. So we could see him get goals in this game too. So not necessarily scoring too many 2 goals or 3 goals, but I see him getting not below 7 points for the game week. Now we move on to Son. Son is going to be playing against Chelsea, and Son is a big match player, so it's expected of Son to turn out a very good performance in this particular one. Now this seems to be the most difficult match for the game week. Chelsea playing against Tottenham. Tottenham is a side that they started the season pretty well, scoring 4 goals in their first game. Although Son wasn't able to contribute to scoring any of those goals, but then we could see that change against Chelsea. Now the downside to that is that Chelsea was able to keep a clean sheet in the first game week, and we know that they have a very good defense. And with the new defensive reinforcements, it could even get tougher for other teams in the league scoring against Chelsea. But that's not to write off the chances of Tottenham scoring against Chelsea. But I just have every feeling that this match is not going to. It might end in a draw, yes, but then we could see many goals come out from this match. Moving on, Bailey is 5 million, and that is even why he's in my squad in the first place. He played in the first match, no goal, no assist, nothing, just his appearance points. But then for 5 million, I'm not exactly banking much on him. He's just going to be there to fill up the squad. But then he was chosen because of his preseason performance. He had a pretty good run in preseason, and we hopefully we are expecting him to turn out that same performance in this game week. He's going to be playing against Everton at home. Everton somehow is going to be a really difficult side this season, especially because of the influence of Lampard and whatever tactics and game is going to be playing in this new season. So not expecting anything from Bailey, but then hopefully he's able to provide solid points for me this game week. So in my attack, I have just 2 strikers, Gabriel Jesus and Darwin Nunez. Now Jesus really disappointed a lot of managers in the first game week, being the most selected player for the game week. But then we also see many managers transferred him out ahead of game week 2. But then it doesn't necessarily mean that that's all there is to Jesus. He had pretty good runs. But he dropped too deep in the midfield in that first game, because I watched the match and I saw that he wasn't being fed enough. He wasn't really playing like a striker, especially when it comes to that in the second half. Now I'm really expecting Jesus to stay more central and be in those pocket spaces whereby he's able to get passes, he's able to get supplied passes. But from what I saw, he played more as a deep line forward in that first leg, and I hope Ateta is able to change that tactics or whatever role he's playing Jesus as, and help him get more forward so that he's able to score more goals. But then because of his price, is going to be staying in my team for a lot longer because I'm very positive about Jesus. I'm a big fan of Jesus, not because I'm just a fan subjectively, but then his price point, his skills, and his qualities. He's a quality player, and we've seen what he did at Manchester City, and we know that as long as he's a regular starter in Arsenal, he could even do more than he has been doing before. Yeah, for Darwin Nunez, I talked about him before. New guy trying to impress, high on morale, and that's just that about Darwin Nunez. He's going to still be in my squad till for a very long time. But then now it still boils down to I might, after this game week, I might consider changing one of my strikers. It just depends on how it just depends on the outcome of game week 2. So until then, I will leave that explanation or that story till after game week 2. But this is what my team selection so far, my final team selection so far looks like for game week 2. We have Sri Lanka, Andres, and Neko Williams. Yeah, as for Neko Williams, I would have considered starting him in my lineup, but then he's going to be playing against a West Ham side that's difficult for them. Nottingham Forest are, they are the new entrants in the league this season, and West Ham are a very difficult side. I feel West Ham are going to beat, if they are going to beat them by many goal margins. We could even see them have a 3 goal margin against Nottingham Forest. So it's just better stays there in my defense. We see Andres playing against Wolves. Not really much from Andres, and Sri Lanka also have a very difficult fixture playing against Manchester City. And this is just it so far for my team selection, and this is going to be locked in. I have no other change to make to this team. So that's it, guys, for my team selection for game week 2. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please kindly either subscribe button, turn on the post notification icon so that anytime I post a new video, you are going to be aware. And I really hope you're able to get subscribed to this channel, because I'm trying to hit my first 1,000 subscribers. So that's all for the game week. So that's all for my team selection for game week 2. Then we're going to continue talking about all this after the outcome of game week 2. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in my next video.